Ramsey, Aubameyang, oh brilliant! He took it first time and with devastating effect. Put through by Steve Bold, would you believe it?
I don't want to waste what's left. The storms we
The
chase.
game, according to the referee, and Bergkamp certainly life in hand.
No, I don't want to waste what's left. And on we'll go.
Henri, what a goal!
Wastelands through the highways till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go.
He's in again, pushed out by Bartes, Wiltor!
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another show. Joining me to listen, I'm sure we got lots to talk about, is Curtis. How you doing, Curtis?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on, man. You know what? When I see that intro and see all them great players, and then you think about them days, and then you see some of the players we got now, and you think, oh, what? How did it go so wrong? But hey, hopefully we'll get back there.
Yeah, I hope so, Curtis. I really do. Big up everybody in the chat as well. Remember to hit the like button. Already 11 likes on this video, so yeah, smash the like button.
Yeah,
Curtis, let's listen. I know you've probably done it many times before, but let's look back at Saturday first. We can't really start the show without looking back at Saturday. Where did it go so wrong, Curtis? Where did it go so wrong?
You know what? I just felt the players played like they were trying not to lose. Like, do you know what I mean? When you're playing a team like Liverpool, we know they're a good team; they're the champions, but you've still got to try and beat them. I mean, look what Liverpool did against Real Madrid the other day. You know, they could have conceded 5 or 6 with them 2 centre backs they had playing, but Arsenal just didn't try and do anything. They forced Aubameyang into the team on the left. I think playing Chambers at right back against Sadio and Mane was a bit of a crazy one, and Holding at centre back. I called them the Chuckle Brothers, man. But we just weren't at it. We played like we were trying not to lose rather than trying to win, and I think we got what we deserved in the end, Daniel, man. And let's just hope they don't play like that tonight. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. And Randy, I've just seen your super chat. Do you know what? Because you're a piss taker, I'm not even going to put it on the screen. Do you know what? That serves you right. Do you know what it is, Curtis? Right, yeah.
Go on.
I've done a Man United watch along, and ever since then, everyone's been taking the piss going. I'm a closet Man United fan because I've done the Manchester derby back in December because there was, you know when you. Do you know what? With this lockdown, it's trying to find content, mate, as well. Do you know what I mean? Trying to find content and so yeah, it takes the piss. But Randy, thanks for your super chat. But yeah, like Curtis, do you know what? All right, before the game, and I'll be honest with you, Curtis, a big game, and it should be, like normally I'd be excited, but I wasn't feeling it this week. You know, with everything that happened with Claude and that, I woke up and I said, you know what? Do I even bother watching the game? And it was loads of people talk me into it. Go, come on, it's Arsenal. And I said, like, football's it's not important this week. And I got talked into it. And then they go and perform like that. And I feel a bit shortchanged. Do you know what I mean? Like,
massively shortchanged. And do you know what? Like you said, Daniel, I think obviously for all the community who knew Claude and it affected a lot of people. And I usually put out content daily, and obviously when everything came out with Claude, I didn't upload for the rest of the week until the game because I just didn't feel like doing it. I almost felt guilty putting out content with everything that was going on. And then, I didn't have the same enthusiasm for that game either. And then obviously it was Rocky Rocastle's 20-year anniversary. and the players all come out wearing Rocastle on their back, and they've obviously been explained what he meant to the club. And then you see them put in that kind of performance, and you think, I just don't understand if a lot of these players understand what it means to play for this club. I think it's too comfortable to play for Arsenal now. It's like, you know, you can just chill. You'll get a new contract if you have 3 or 4 good games. And we've got to get that pride back into the football club. And whether the manager can do that, the players, a combination of both. But it was definitely a strange feeling on Saturday, the game, with everything that had happened last week with Claude.
Yeah. Randy's back with another super chat. I'm going to put this on. He said, "Is Martinez selling? Has it affected Alba's form?"
Martinez. I mean, you wouldn't think a goalkeeper would affect a striker, but I would imagine that he was disappointed that he was sold, because I was reading that those two got on very well off the pitch as well. But I don't think Aubameyang's form can be down to Martinez, if I'm honest. But listen, I was disappointed when Martinez was sold, because I thought he was a very good keeper, and he talks about Arsenal in basically every interview he gives. So I think he was a little bit bitter about leaving as well. But nah, I've been rooting for Aubameyang, and I've put my neck on the line a little bit that I think he's going to turn up tonight. So I just hope he doesn't let us all down.
Yeah. I just look at Aubameyang and I think I just look at Aubameyang and I just think he's massively tuned out to the project at Arsenal. Like you watch him play, and it's kind of like as if he doesn't want to be there. And do you know what? It's very, very similar to the way he sort of saw out his Dortmund days. And I'm worried, I'll be honest, because he was doing the same thing at Dortmund.
Yeah. And the thing is, see, it's a strange one, because when he signed the new contract, he said so many things about the football club, the history, even the way they announced the deal with him and Ian Wright. And it seemed like he was really tuned into Arsenal. And I kind of wonder, has he seen the way we've played this season and kind of thought, you know what, this is the last big contract of my career. You know, he turns 32 this summer. He's not going to get another big contract for 3 or 4 years anywhere else. Is he kind of looking at him thinking, you sold me a bit of a false dream here that we were going to be flying this season, we're going to buy all these players? And the way that he's been used at times this season, out on the left, and, you know, Man City away, we played Willian up front. And I agree with you a little bit. I think he's kind of disconnected himself from the project, and he almost looks like he's sulking a little bit. And you're right, at Dortmund, he was doing similar things, turning up late, being fined. It was almost as if he was trying to force his way out of the club. So I just hope that's not the case at Arsenal. And that it's just a bad run of form. Obviously, his mum wasn't well, but he's definitely got to step up. And listen, if he steps up tonight and gets us through to the next round, fans can forgive quickly. It's just they need a big performance from him. Obviously, he scored the winner against Benfica in the last minute. So let's hope he can do it tonight, man. We need Aubameyang back. I think if we're going to win this competition, Aubameyang is one of the main players that need to turn up. As good as Lacazette has been, I still feel Aubameyang is the main striker that we need if we're going to win it.
Yeah. Do you think we should, because there's a lot of people, Omar being one of them, big up Omar, thinks we should sell Aubameyang.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
Because I look at Aubameyang, I look at it and I was just like, I just think I think he should come out the team. I don't think playing him, I think a run out of the team, as harsh as it sounds, I think it will do him some good. And, you know, we've got Martinelli, we've got other players who can go there. You could even put Pepe out on the left, which I'd like to see Pepe step up as well, because he's another player who is, for me, I just feel like we got ripped off when we signed Pepe.
Yeah, I think Omar's constantly giving me stick about Aubameyang. I think he calls him the new Yaya Sanogo or something, which is a bit harsh. But listen, I can understand people thinking that Aubameyang should be dropped because his performance haven't justified starting a lot of the time, to be honest. But, you know, there was a report coming out today about Lacazette again saying the club aren't sure whether to renew his deal or not. I just don't think that Aubameyang could be sold, even if the club felt like they wanted to sell him, because you've got a guy turning 32 on over 300 grand a week who is not in great form. What club is going to come and take that contract off you and also give you a decent transfer fee? You've also got to look at the fact there is a shortage of top strikers in Europe at the moment. So to go and release Aubameyang and replace him would cost a fortune, and Arsenal haven't got that money. So for me, I think sometimes it's too easy in football when a player's out of form to say, "Oh, just get rid of him. Get rid of him." You know, sometimes you've actually got to find a way to get him back into form. And with Aubameyang, we've seen over the last 2.5 years what kind of player he can be. Let's face it, he's carried this team for the last couple of years. He's the main reason we won the FA Cup. So I can understand people saying take him out of the team. I agree. I think Martinelli should play tonight. But I would actually play Martinelli and Aubameyang tonight, because I would play Aubameyang up front and I would play Martinelli on the left, which is harsh on Lacazette because he has played well. But I've seen a little bit of Slavia Prague and I've spoken to someone who knows a lot about them, and he said they struggle against pace up front. And that is Aubameyang. That is not Lacazette. Randy's saying in the comments, Aubameyang needs a fresh manager. And it could be a case of that. You know, maybe he doesn't believe in this manager. And a few players, I think, are starting to have issues with Arteta and the way he runs the team. So, look, I understand everyone's frustration with Aubameyang. I can get why people say give him a rest. But I just don't think he would react well to being dropped. And I'm more inclined to try and get the best out of him. I would play him and Martinelli tonight.
Yeah. Kevin Mark makes a great point. Big up, Kevin. Where you been, bro? Not seen you in a while. I was about to put out a missing persons report, but I hope you're well. Seriously, Kevin. He says, you know, you can't drop 11 players for poor performance. So that leaves the manager. He's just mentally weak at handling senior players. What do you reckon to that? Because Arteta needs to step up as well now. Arteta needs to start getting a grip of this team.
Yeah. I mean, see, the problem with Arteta is, can he get a grip of this team? And I think that's the question mark that hangs over him, because there's no evidence to suggest that he can get a hold of them, because he's never managed. And that was always the problem for me. I think Arteta is probably a good coach. I think he's got great ideas, and you know, working under Pep Guardiola for 3 or 4 years, of course you're going to have great ideas. My issue with him is man management, and I think man management is such a huge thing these days. You look at Pep, you look at Klopp, they understand that each player needs to be handled different. You look at Sir Alex Ferguson, who is the most successful manager of, you know, this generation in the Premier League. They say he's not even an amazing coach. You know, he brought great coaches in to put across his ideas, but it's the way he knew how to manage players. When I listen to Arteta, I don't know, and I know this isn't really anything to do with him as a manager, but I don't see much in his personality. He's not box office to listen to in a press conference. And, you know, I know those things are not overly important. You can be a boring guy and a great manager, but I just don't see that much about him where I think, you know, this guy's going to turn this football club around and get us back to the top. I've said before, Daniel, if he doesn't win the Europa League, considering the season we're having in the league, I would move him on in the summer. I genuinely would. And I know some people think he needs more time, and I've had a lot of slander from people for this thought process. But I don't see the club moving forward at the moment. I don't expect him to just perform miracles, you know, quickly. But this season for me is the worst season I've probably ever seen as an Arsenal fan in the Premier League. It's been dreadful. I'm actually glad that we haven't been able to go to games, because I wouldn't want to spend my time and money going to watch them performances. So he's got a great opportunity to win this Europa League. We got a good draw. There's still going to be difficult games, but we would have taken Slavia Prague at the start of the season in a quarterfinal, potentially Zagreb or Villarreal, and then maybe Man United, Ajax, Roma in the final. So it's winnable. And tonight's got to be the start of the turnaround, man. We need to win tonight. And I think we need to win by a couple of goals as well to take the pressure off.
Yeah, I've said it for a long time. I've said that, like, I'm sort of in the same camp as you. If he doesn't win the Europa League, he's got to go. And when people keep telling me that he needs more time, I always come up with a simple thing of, when this season started, before this season started, what was everybody's aims for this season? It was to get top 4 or win the Europa League. Now, if he doesn't achieve neither of those, why should a manager who's not achieved his targets still keep his job? In any other business, in any other football club, if the targets aren't met, I'm sorry, but you're out the door. Why is it any different for Arteta?
And let's face it, Daniel, in the league, he's not even close to the target. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can give him a bit more time. If we finished 5th or 6th and we played great football this year and we just fell short, you could kind of say, well, you know what? He did all right, but maybe he didn't quite have the players to get over the line. But when you're 10th, I'm sorry, that is not acceptable for a club like Arsenal. And, when we're looking at West Ham, 4th in the league, a team that finished 15 points behind Arsenal last season, who spent less money than we spent in the summer. They bought Souček and these guys, and obviously they brought in Jesse Lingard. I can't accept what Arteta's delivering. And like I said, we're actually not that great to watch. It's not even like we're playing great football and it's not quite working. I've been doing watch-alongs this season, and a lot of the time I'm bored. Honestly, the people in the comments have carried me through a lot of these watch-alongs where I'm watching. I'm like, I don't know what this is that I'm watching. And people say he needs more time, more players. Yeah, that's great, but he signed 9 players. He's signed 9 players since he's been at the club. He's given new contracts to 5 players. So 14 of that squad are players that Mikel Arteta has either signed or renewed their contract to keep them at that club. So when everyone says it's not his squad, he needs more time, not every manager goes to a club and signs a whole new squad of players and says, this is my 22. These are all my players. Sometimes you go into a job and you have to work with the tools that you're given. If you get a job in an office, they don't go, right, you're in this office, we're going to get you a new desk, laptop, everything's going to be brand new. Sometimes you just got to work with what's there. And he hasn't improved enough of the players in the current squad. In fact, I've seen a decline in some of the players, like Aubameyang. Pepe hasn't moved forward. A lot of players that I expected him to get more out of, they've actually got worse under him. And we've scored less goals this season than we've scored in years. We've lost more games than we've lost in years. Teams like Aston Villa finished 20 points behind Arsenal last season. They were 1 place above the relegation zone. They've beaten us twice this season. They play exciting football. They didn't spend what we spent. So I don't expect Arsenal to be top of the league, but Arsenal should be challenging for the top 4 with this squad when you look at teams like West Ham 4th. So for me, I totally agree with you. If he doesn't win that Europa League and we finish 10th, 9th, 8th, that is no progress. And I would move him on. I would go for a bigger, more experienced manager.
Yeah, I've just... Omar, you joker, he said, trust the process, guys. Come on, Arteta's taking us places. Yeah, mate, the wrong places. Wrong places. We're closer to the championship than the Champions League.
There you go.
And it's mad. And do you know what people keep coming back? All the Arteta in people keep coming back is, we've improved defensively. Have we really? Because I don't think we have. I look at this team and actually we've lost, 12 games 13 games. That's unacceptable. We're, like you say, we've not really creating anything. We've not been playing that well. And, you know, I said this many a times on this channel that if it wasn't for YouTube, I would have tuned out of Arsenal this season. And
Mate,
and that's a fact. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, this thing that our defense is better, it comes off the fact that we've conceded less goals, but we're losing more games. So to me, that counters each other in the sense I would say we haven't improved because, all right, let's say we usually lose 7 games and we lose those games 3 or 4-0, but then you lose 12 games and you lose them all 1-0. You've conceded less goals, but you've lost more games. So it doesn't really matter to me. You know, it's just as bad, in my opinion, if not worse. So when this theory that we've improved defensively just because we've conceded less goals is a myth to me. You know, 12 defeats, like you said, and I'm not being funny, Daniel. We'll lose another game this season. You know, it won't finish at 12. We'll lose another 1 or 2 games. You're talking about 13, 14 defeats. That's almost relegation numbers, losing that many games. And like I said, the attack has fallen as well. One thing, even under Arsene Wenger, we always moan that defensively we're wide open. But Arsene Wenger scored a lot of goals. Not him literally, obviously, but his team scored a lot of goals. Even under Emery in his full season, we banged goals in that year. Aubameyang won the Golden Boot. Lacazette won Player of the Season. All of a sudden, our attack has been flat. And yeah, like you said, this thing that our defense has improved, not for me. We still need a right back. Whether Saliba comes back. I mean, I read a stat last night that Saliba hasn't been dribbled past once since he's gone to France. This guy ain't good enough to play for us, apparently.
No, can't get in the team. Static says... Daniel and Curtis, what's more important, scoring goals or conceding less goals? Scoring more goals or conceding less goals? I think it's both, really, isn't it? I think you've got to look at it as like that. You can't do one without doing the other, because if you do that, then you leave yourself short. Whether if you score goal, you know, and that's the thing. You know what? When you look back at Arsenal teams, we've always had, you know, we've had situations where we've been sound defensively, but our attack's been poor. And then we've had teams where it's been the polar opposite. We've just not quite had the two together, have we?
That's the problem, you know. And I remember under Wenger, we always used to say every summer, please buy a defensive midfielder, please buy a centre-back. And he didn't really address that. And then, because we had the good attack with obviously Sanchez, Cazorla and Ozil, we still probably needed a better striker, to be fair, than Giroud. And then obviously we get Aubameyang, we get Lacazette, and then the defense kind of crumbles. And now we're sort of trying to rebuild the defense and trying to rebuild the attack at the same time. So it's all kind of gone out the window now. And I just think people say trust the process. But then I say, what is the process? Because to me, not only are we chasing Liverpool, Man City teams like that, we're now chasing Leicester. We're now chasing Everton, West Ham. You know, these sort of teams, they may not be as big as us, but they've overtaken us.
Yeah.
You know, league.
Layla says, look at Sean Dyche, what he's doing at Burnley. I don't want Sean Dyche at Arsenal, man. Come on. Do you know what I mean?
We're not quite that bad.
Yeah, come on. It's bad enough having Arteta at Arsenal. I don't know. Yeah, and you know what as well? And I wanted to get your opinions on this, Curtis. Do you actually think Stan Kroenke is the sole problem at Arsenal? Because I've said for time, and I'm not Stan Kroenke's biggest fan, but when you look at it in the cold light of day, and a lot of people level at Stan Kroenke that he's not really spent money, but when you add up all the money that we have spent, you can't really say that he's not really spent money. My biggest problem is not Stan Kroenke. My biggest problem is people in charge of the football, you know, the football side of things under him, because they're the ones going to him saying, listen, Stan, I want this player. And Stan, he don't know nothing. So he's probably going to go, yeah, all right then. That's, for me, that's the problem.
Well, I tell you what, the problem has never been Stan Kroenke and the amount of money that he spent, because I agree with you, he has spent money. The problem with Stan Kroenke is the people he hired to spend his money, he allowed them to do whatever they wanted to do. And this is the problem. When he had Gazidis, he gave him money and let him do whatever he wanted. Where what he should have done, every one of them major transfers that was made, he should have held them accountable. So, for example, we needed a central midfielder. They spent 35 million on Granit Xhaka when they could have bought N'Golo Kante, but they walked away because they felt Kante's agent wanted too much money. So you buy Granit Xhaka. A year later, if I'm Stan Kroenke, I would have looked at that and said, you've just taken 35 million off me. And that's the midfielder you've bought. You still actually need a midfielder because he isn't good enough. When we needed a centre-back, 35 million was spent on Mustafi. Again, I would have been saying, well, what's that? I expect more than that for 35 million. So the problem was never money spent. We've got the most expensive front three in the Premier League, in the history of the Premier League, in Pepe, Aubameyang and Lacazette. But the money has not been spent properly, and Stan Kroenke didn't have enough interest to say, do you know what? This Gazidis is wasting my money. I'm going to get rid of him, or I'm going to force him to spend the money properly. He just takes a back seat and lets them do whatever. And that is the problem. No one is held accountable for the mistakes that have been made at Arsenal. So Kroenke, the problem isn't spending the money. It's who he gave the control of the money to. And the fact that you've got to look, we're a self-sustaining model. When you've got a self-sustaining model, you have to sell assets to generate further income. So you can't let Mesut Ozil, Jack Wilshere, Aaron Ramsey, Danny Welbeck all leave on free transfers when you could have probably got 100 million for them guys. You know, Alexis Sanchez is one of the best players I've probably ever seen at Arsenal. I'd say he's that good. We swapped him for Henrik Mkhitaryan, who then left on a free transfer. So we actually got nothing for Alexis Sanchez. We should have got 70, 80 million pounds for it. So as I would say, Kroenke spending money is not the problem. He has spent money, but he hasn't managed the club properly. He clearly doesn't have a huge interest in what happens at the club, and that's the problem. You know, if we had an owner that was a little bit more hands-on, the way Abramovich is, the way the Man City owners are, that money would have been spent properly, and we would have got money for players that we'd have lost, which would have been reinvested in the team. So I just think he's took too much of a back seat in the ownership situation.
Yeah, and I just I agree. Remember, guys, listen, there's loads of you in chat. Do smash the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It's really important. It helps the channel get out there. Like I say, we're on the road to 2K. I think I'm like 120 odd subs off it. So let's try and push to that milestone. If we're looking ahead to tonight, Curtis, what would you do? Because we've got a lot of problems. You know, Kieran Tierney's out. David Luiz is out. I'm looking at our midfield as well, and I'm like, you know, you're in a bad place when you actually want Granit Xhaka to start. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're in a bad place when you're just relying on Granit Xhaka.
I said the same thing, Danny. I said, listen, when David Luiz and Granit Xhaka, I mean, obviously they were both out of the weekend, and I said, wow, we're actually missing those two players in our team, and that's two players that I don't even think are good enough to be at Arsenal. So it says a lot about where we are. We've got a problem tonight. We have got a problem because Slavia Prague's strength is their two wingers. They've got a lot of pace out wide now. Obviously, Kieran Tierney's out. What does he do at left back? Does he play Cedric at left back, which then means you've got to play Bellerin or Chambers at right back? Or do you sacrifice Saka and play Saka at left back and probably play Cedric at right back? Obviously, in the central defence as well, you got no David Luiz, which David Luiz has been our best centre-back this season, I think, because of his experience, his quality on the ball. we haven't had a great partnership outside of that now. When you look at how Rob Holding played against Liverpool, he was shocking, losing a header to a guy about half his size. So Pablo Mari and Gabriel is a partnership we haven't seen, but a lot of people seem to think because they're both left-footed, they can't play together. And then also we heard that Martin Odegaard has still got this injury that he got for Norway, which makes it crazy that Arsenal played him against Liverpool if he still had this injury. So he's going to have he's going to have big issues tonight. And something that worried me yesterday was Willian was in the press conference with Mikel Arteta. Now, usually the guy that's in the press conference in the Europa League plays the game. So that's making me think Willian's going to start tonight. So, which I don't think the Arsenal fans will be too happy with. I would probably play Saka at left back, personally. I would play Saka at left back and Martinelli left wing. I think that would be a lethal left-hand side. I think Cedric at left back and then having to play Bellerin or Chambers, I think that really messes up our defence. Doesn't offer it a lot of balance. I think Saka, I remember he did play left back for a little while for Arsenal and did well. I would like to see Martinelli and Pepe out wide tonight. And probably have to play Smith Rowe in the 10 with Odegaard not playing. And then obviously up front, you've got your choice of Lacazette or Aubameyang. I would go for Aubameyang. I know a lot of people have said they would go for Lacazette and obviously Xhaka and Thomas Partey in midfield. I just think we need to play on the front foot. We need to win by a couple of goals. If we was to win 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, I would be nervous going away from home next week with only a 1-goal lead. I think we need a 2-goal lead minimum going into that away game.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is I don't know. Like I look at Saka and I'm not sure. I don't know. Like I know he's done well at left back, but
yeah,
I just look at him and I just think, are we going to be sacrificing our attack if we put him at left back?
Possibly.
I seen. Was it Charles Watts maybe suggesting that we could switch up to a 3-4-3 formation and use Saka as a wing back, and that way he doesn't really have to rely on the defensive side. He can just concentrate on the attacking side.
Yeah, I mean, we played that last season when we won the FA Cup, and we had success with that. I suppose then you could play maybe Gabriel, Pablo Mari, and maybe Holding or Chambers at centre back. And then you could obviously play Saka as a wing back. It's just the fact we haven't played that formation for a while. Is this the game to be changing formation? Because sometimes when you change formation and you haven't played it for a while, your team are not quite tuned into it. I mean, listen, I do understand it. It kind of makes sense to change formation, but at the same time, I just don't trust these players. I think these players, you have to make it as simple as possible because they will find any excuse to just mess things up, So
I've just seen a spam account with Mikel Arteta saying no Martinelli's not good enough.
Yeah. Well, that's probably what he's thinking, to be honest, because he never picks him, doesn't he? But I've got to admit, Daniel, I'm nervous for tonight, and that says a lot about Arsenal because, let's be honest, Slavia Prague at home, I know they've done well in the competition this year, but we should be beating Slavia Prague at home. And I'm not overly confident. I'm turning up to this game hoping for the best, but you just never know with Arsenal. But listen, I've said I've criticised Arteta a lot this season. But if he wins that Europa League, I will forgive him for all the pain you've put us through, for losing to Burnley, all these difficult days. I will forgive you if you win that Europa League. So it needs to start tonight. This can be the start of our turnaround, in my opinion. But you just never know with this team.
That's it. You never know. And that, I don't know, like I'm still thinking, though, that even if we win the Europa League, I'd still look at Arteta's job. Because what worries me is if we win the Europa League, has he got the experience to then go and build on that success and spend the money correctly and then kick on? And I'm just not sure he has. And I know like I know what you're saying about you. It's hard to really sack a guy that's actually done better than Wenger and Emery in that respect. I know you were talking about that on your streams the other day, and I don't know, like there's just something about Mikel Arteta that just doesn't excite me. Do you know what I mean? It's I still can't get over the fact that Arsenal employed somebody with no experience.
It was a crazy decision, in my opinion. Look, do you know what it is? I'm all for opportunity in life, giving people opportunities, but the circumstances have to be right. And I think he walked into an absolute mess. There were so many problems at Arsenal when he walked in. You know, the recruitment. We had Raul Sanelli, and they obviously moved him on. We had players like Ozil, Socrates on contracts. They didn't want them. They couldn't get them out the door. We didn't have a large transfer budget to go and rebuild. So I just kind of feel like Arteta had so much to deal with and he wasn't ready to do it. Like John said there in the comments, I think the owners did want a yes man, somebody that they knew would be easier to control, cheaper to a point. I mean, obviously, we were being linked with Ancelotti and Pochettino and Mourinho, guys like that. I mean, just for example, Mourinho's on 15 million a season at Tottenham. And Mikel Arteta's on 6. You know, it's less than half. So you can see why they went down that road. I don't agree with it at all. Going back to Arteta, I think if he wins the Europa League, even though I'm still not convinced by him as a manager because I haven't seen enough in the league, if he was to win the Europa League, having won the FA Cup last year, he would definitely have earned himself the opportunity to have another season and build. You know, there's no way. The club wouldn't even sack him if he didn't win the Europa League, in my opinion. So if he wins it, he'll probably sign a new contract if he wins it. They'll probably give him a 3 or 4 year deal. So whilst I'm still not convinced by him, if he won that Europa League, he would definitely have earned the right, I think, to have another year at least. And talking Barca, they said Everton should have appointed Mikel, Arsenal should have appointed Carlo. And I agree with that.
I'd love Carlo.
Should have been coming to Arsenal.
Yeah, I love Carlo Ancelotti. I think he would have been a good fit for us. And I know a lot of people would disagree, but I think he would be a really good fit for us.
Yeah.
I think he would have been a really good fit. But you could imagine, though, couldn't you, Curtis, being a fly on the wall in Mikel's interview? So what experience have you got, Mikel? None. Okay, the job's yours.
Yeah, the job's yours, mate.
Yeah, the job's yours. You know,
it's yours, mate. That's what I said, Daniel, the other day. I said, can you imagine applying for a job and they say, email your CV and you just send a blank piece of paper with your name on it? You know what I mean? That's basically what he did, and he got the job. Like,
mate, that was my maths GCSE. Do you know what I mean? Like a blank piece of paper.
Yeah, I've got a C in maths in when I was 16. You know, and it's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's slandering you in the comments, Daniel, saying that you want Solskjaer at Arsenal.
Fucking Randy, mate. Jesus Christ. Mate, you talk about United more than I do. 90% of your comments is about United. But you know what? I'm not even joking. Solskjaer's done a slightly better job than Arteta at the moment. You look at where Man United are in the league.
I mean, they're second in the league. I think obviously the thing with Solskjaer, United are frustrated that he's not winning a trophy. He's been to 4 semi-finals and lost all of them. Don't get me wrong, Ollie has got a better team to work with. It is easier to manage when you've got better players, let's be honest. But at least he's got them playing a certain way. You look at a lot of their better players, you know, Bruno Fernandes and people like that, they're performing. You know, but like I said, I've watched Man United a lot this season and I'm not overly impressed with them. You know, I think when I see them second in the league, I think it doesn't say much about the Premier League this season. I haven't watched Man United that much this season and thought, wow, what a team. You know, they just kind of grind out a result. I just think with Solskjaer, he's maybe hit the ceiling at United where he can't get much more than what he's doing there. Like, I can't see Man United ever winning the Premier League with Solskjaer in charge or winning the Champions League. I think he can finish second. He can maybe win an FA Cup. But I don't think he can achieve much more than that. I think United should have got Poch. I actually wanted Poch at Arsenal. I know he'd been at Tottenham, but
I would have taken Pochettino all day long.
He's a brilliant manager. He's a brilliant manager, Daniel.
I don't care about that he's been at Tottenham. Listen, Tottenham. No. Do you know what? You talk to 95% of Spurs fans, and they regret letting Poch go. Yeah. You know, because of the way it's gone. But yeah, I wanted Pochettino at Arsenal. I know a lot of people didn't, but I was up there. Cheddar said next season, no Europa League football will be perfect for Arsenal. Hire a world-class manager and fourth is possible.
See, my only worry with that is this owner will find any excuse to give the manager less money to spend. Now, if we've got no European football, he's going to use that against us. He's going to say, you know, I've got to restrict how much money you get. Also, I actually think it's easier to win the Europa League than finish top four. You know, we're miles away from finishing top four. Where we've been to Europa League final, semi-final. This year we're in the quarterfinal. I'm not so sure that Arsenal being out of Europe would help us that much. I get what people are saying. Obviously, you don't play on a Thursday. You've got all week to coach. And obviously, he's referring there to a world-class manager. Are this board going to sack Arteta, pay him up, and then go and hire a world-class manager? Because they should have done that when Emery left, and they didn't do it. So I don't trust the board to do that. In theory, that's what they should do, and I totally agree with you. But they'd probably keep Arteta and say, oh, he needs more time and blah, blah, blah. So if we had the right owner who had that ambition, I would totally agree with you. But under this ownership, I wouldn't trust them to sack Arteta and go and bring someone better in, to be honest.
Yeah. I personally think we've got to be in some European competition, and it obviously if we don't win the Europa, then obviously we're not going to get Europa football, because I can't see us in the league finishing higher than 9th or 10th. I'm going to be honest, I just can't see it. Yeah. And do you know what? I want to be back in the Champions League. I want to hear that Champions League music at the Emirates. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. Yeah. But I want to, I don't. A lot of people saying, "Oh, but you know, we're going to get knocked out and we're probably going to get battered." I don't care. I just want to be competing against teams like Barca and Bayern. I don't want to be going Thursday nights against Bate Borisov. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I've had enough of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just so. You know, the Europa League doesn't get exciting until the knockout rounds, and you know, I said it yesterday to the guys in the chat. When I was doing a live stream, I said, I remember a couple of seasons ago, Wenger's last season in charge, we had Atletico at the Emirates, and the atmosphere was rocking that night. You know, it was a really good atmosphere, and I want that every week. If we were in the Champions League, do you know what I mean? We'd get that most weeks.
Daniel, you know what's mad? I've actually got used to the Europa League. I think that's the worst thing I could say. Like, when we qualified for the Europa League, I didn't know what the theme song was. I didn't know anything. Now I know the theme song. You know, I know more about the Europa League than the Champions League now. We've been in it for that long. I tell you one thing, though. Obviously, I did a watch-along yesterday for PSG Bayern and obviously Madrid Liverpool. And I've got to be honest, I looked at the standard of those teams and I thought we would really struggle in this competition. Like, we would have to invest a lot of money in our team just to compete in that competition, because the level that PSG and Bayern and teams like that are at, I think we'd get a hammering off them teams. But no, listen, I agree. I've had enough of the Europa League. I miss them Champions League nights, man. Tuesday and Wednesday night, Barcelona at home, and you know, great games to go to. These Europa League games are, you know, the whole group stage is just a write-off. You know, you don't even want to go to them games against teams you've never heard of. And like you said, it only gets a bit exciting in the latter stages, like now. But like I said, when you think last night we're watching PSG against Bayern Munich, and tonight we're playing against Slavia Prague, and we're not even confident whether we're going to beat them or not, I think that tells you where we're at. But listen, just get out of this competition somehow, try and win it, get that money, invest in some proper players in the summer. And, you know, all of a sudden you can creep back up there. It just, if this process is going to work, you know, trust the process, as everyone always says, it needs success. Success speeds up a process. You know, if we just carry on at this rate, spend 50 million, blah, 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 it's going to take years to catch up. You know, we need to win a Europa League, get back in the Champions League, and go and spend some money and buy some proper players. So, listen, I'm going to be going crazy on the watch along tonight because this game means so much to this football club. You know, we've got to find a way to win this competition somehow, even though I'm not overly confident. You know, we're not playing against great opposition, so we need to find a way, man. What do you think? Do you think we're gonna? Do you think we'll beat Slavia Prague? Do you think we'll win the whole thing, or what's your thoughts?
I don't know, Curtis. Like it kind of depends. If the team like we saw on Saturday turns up, then I think Slavia are going to win comfortably. I've got to be honest. But if the team, you know, if Arsenal put in a good fight, then I think we could get through. We've got to, you know, we've got like a whole season. If we get knocked out, we might as well forget about the rest of the season because it's just done, isn't it? You know, we might as well just switch over and just watch something else because it's done. But I do feel we've got the favourable side of the draw going forward. So if we get past Slavia Prague, then we've got either Zagreb or Villarreal. I think a lot of people are saying it could be Emery versus Arteta, which, listen, Emery's going to want revenge. Listen, he was hard done by the club, so he's going to probably pull out all the stops to try and get a result. And remember, apart from when he was managing us, he's usually got a good record in the Europa League. And then in the final, listen, I still a lot of people are saying that it could be Arsenal United final. I'm still, listen, Ajax and Roma, I still think either one of them could knock out United.
Yeah. I have to admit, I wouldn't want to play United in the final. I've got to admit, I know a lot of people are saying, you know, we beat them. I think we beat them away, didn't we? And we drew at home. So we've took 4 points off United. But I just think they've got a lot of big players that I think would thrive in a final. You know, they've got players that know how to win finals. Like you look at the likes of Pogba and people like Bruno. And I think I would rather play against Roma or Ajax in the final than Man United, if I'm being honest. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just wouldn't want to... Listen, if we get there and we play United, we go for it. Obviously, we can beat them, but I would rather not play United if I was choosing. What would you rather play United or would you rather play Ajax or Roma?
I'd rather play Ajax or Roma. I don't want no United because I can see what's going to happen if we get United. It's going to be Baku all over again.
That's what I mean. That's the thing.
I don't want Baku part 2. Do you know what I mean?
No.
That was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And do you know the worst thing? I think there was myself and 2 other Arsenal fans are watching it in a pub full of fucking Chelsea supporters, and it was nightmare, mate. Absolutely. Like, it was as soon as the final whistle was like, let's just go.
Get out of here. Get out.
Yeah, let's just go. Big up Hendon Guna. Big up Mark Harris as well, watching from Australia. Man, it must be early hours over there. It must be nighttime for you guys. So yeah, big up for tuning in. Remember, guys, hit the like button, smash the like button, and do subscribe if you're new. So, Curtis, do you actually think that do you think that if we get past this tie, do you think we could win the Europa? What's your heart saying?
Listen, your heart's always a romantic, isn't it? So my heart says, end of May, I'm going to see Aubameyang lifting that trophy in, I think it's in Poland, the final. But my head says, you know what? Have a think. It's Arsenal. They'll bottle it somewhere. That's what it says. But we've just got to take it one game at a time. I know it's a bit of an old saying, oh, just take it one game. Just take it one game at a time. Let's not think about the semi-final or the final, because that's sometimes when you get caught out. Just win this game tonight. Win this game tonight. Try and get a couple of goals advantage. And, you know, then we go away from home next week. What we can't afford, in my opinion, is to be going into that away game under like massive pressure. If we was to draw the game tonight or even worse, lose, then I would have no confidence in this team turning it around. But we need to have the advantage going into next week. Slavia Prague are obviously unbeaten in their league this season. I know the standard of the league isn't that great, but they've obviously got a very strong mentality that they don't really lose. So I think we need to score first. We need to score first, get the advantage and the confidence, and then ask questions of them. I spoke to a guy the other day who's covered a lot of games of Slavia Prague, and he said to me that Slavia try and press high up the pitch. They try and win the ball back. And he said, if you can play through that press, you can expose their defense. And he was saying to me that Arsenal need pace in their attack, because he said they struggle against pace, which is why I want to see the likes of Martinelli playing tonight. Whether he will or not is a different thing. So we need to score first. If we do get that first goal, we need to try and, you know, get a couple of goals against them. I just hope that defense can hold out. But yeah, back to your question. Yeah, can we win it? Listen, we can win it. I think with the bookies, we are joint second favourites, I think, with Ajax to win it. Man United are favourites. We're second. Listen, we're one of the best 2 or 3 teams left in the competition. We've got to be confident. And I think these players and this manager, they owe it to the fans after such a bad season to deliver something. So, you know, I mean, I don't know if fans are going to be able to go to that final in Poland, but I'd love to go over there. But yeah, we can win it, but whether we will, it's a bit of a flip of the coin, man. You never know, do you, Daniel, with Arsenal, man?
No, that's it. Grant says if we don't smash Slavia Prague, I'll go down to the Emirates and drag Arteta out the club myself.
Don't blame him.
And a lot of people are saying that if we lose, Kevin Campbell will still say it's the players. Mate, Kevin Campbell never has a bad word to say about Arteta. It's mad.
Listen, I think Arteta's putting money in his bank or something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's mad. That is absolutely mad. But yeah, like Curtis, I honestly think that we've got to throw everything at this. And I've said, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh no, we should still try and push up the table in the league." But I just think we should just throw everything. Listen, 5 games and we're in the Champions League. That's all we got to win. It's 5 games and we're in the Champions League.
That's it. And when you think about it, we haven't even got to win all of them. We could win and draw. We might only have to win 3 of them. So, yeah, I agree. We got to throw everything at it. Obviously, when we play in the league, still try and win the game, go for it. But it's not the priority anymore. The Europa League is the priority, and we've got to go all out for it.
Comment here says Pogba or Xhaka.
Oh my! I don't think anyone would answer that with Xhaka, would they? No one in their right mind would answer Xhaka.
That's mad.
Yeah, I love Pogba at Arsenal.
Joanne Smith says, "I'll take the clippers to Arteta's hair if we lose."
Yeah, get that hair off, man. Get that Lego haircut off him, man. He might be great by tomorrow if we lose.
Yeah, if honestly, if we don't get past this tie, then there's no way you can stay in a job. There's absolutely no. If the club keep him, then and do you know what it is as well? I look at it and I think that part of the reason why Arteta has stayed in this job is because there's been no fans in the stadium. You look at there's no fans in the stadium. I think if there's fans there, the pressure would be right on. Do you know what I mean? On.
Daniel, we do interviews with AFTV outside the ground, and we've seen it at times when it's been, really hostile when we've lost games. this manager this season, how bad he's been. Can you imagine the atmosphere outside after losing to Burnley at home or being battered by Villa? You know, I think his job would have been on the line. I'm not even sure he'd still be there if the fans were there, because I think it would have been toxic inside the stadium, being 10th in the league. So I think he's very lucky there's no fans there, to be honest.
Yeah, it's mad, and it's mad, and you know, like you say, we have outside the stadium. Listen, especially doing those AFTV interviews, everyone's just baying for blood.
Yeah.
You know, people, and I understand why people moan, because we've got the highest expensive ticket prices.
Yeah, in Europe.
You know what I mean? The highest expensive, and yet they seem to scrimp on the on spending money and that. But we've, you know, the highest ticket price. I think I'm quite lucky. I get my season ticket half price, which equates to about 500 quid. But I think the standard ticket is about £1,000, isn't it? You know, it's
£1,000 to watch a team that's 10th, where you can get a season ticket at Barcelona for about £400-500 and go and watch Lionel Messi. We're paying £1,000 to watch El Neni and Granit Xhaka. So we're not exactly getting value for money, are we? But you know, they know that the demand is so high. If you decided tomorrow, I'm going to cancel my season ticket, within 5 minutes, someone will have bought that season ticket. So they don't particularly care who's sitting in the seat, because they know that the next person's waiting. So unfortunately, they've got a lot of control in that sense, and that's the problem. But I think we need to start applying pressure back to the club, because I think they're ripping fans off a lot of the time.
Curtis, if this form continues with the poor seasons, how long can we hang on to that big club status before people start saying, do you know what, are we still a big club?
That's a good question, because it's funny, you know, my dad supports Liverpool, and when I was younger, I used to say, oh, you know, when we have a debate about football, Liverpool fans, it turns into, you know, the History Channel talking about the 1980s and 70s. Well, I'm not going to lie, we're slowly turning into that, because when I have an argument with friends now about Arsenal, I end up talking about the Invincibles. You know what I mean? I'll go, yeah, but Thierry Henry. They're like, bro, Henry left you over a decade ago. Let that go, man. And that's where we're at as Arsenal now, you know. And I've said this many times, that Arsenal will lose a generation of fans, because kids nowadays don't want to support Arsenal. They're not the cool club to support right now. They'll support Man City and Liverpool and teams like that. So, listen, we are still a massive club, but history only holds you up for so long, man. You know, you got to perform in the present, and we haven't done a lot for quite a while. So they're taking a big chance every year that we haven't won the title for 16, 17 years. That's a long time, man. Even Leicester have won a title in that time. So we're definitely not acting like a big club.
I've seen kids that, you know, the parents have gone support Arsenal. They go, I'd rather go to the dentist. You know what I mean? Like, exactly. That's how bad things have got, Curtis.
I'm telling you,
it's mad, mate. It's mad. Listen, we're coming to the end of the show. Listen, we're reaching the hour mark. Do remember to hit the like button, guys. There's 40 people in chat. Smash that like button. It's been a great show today. Curtis, I want to thank you for coming on. It's really good first time you've been on the channel, so thank you for coming on.
Nah, no worries, Daniel. Listen, keep up the good work with your channel. I see, you know, you've had some quality interviews on here for Fabrizio and people like that. Smash a like, people. Get him up to 2,000 subscribers, man. He said he only needs 100 or so. Let's get him up to that, and keep up your good work, man. I appreciate you having me on, Daniel.
Yeah, no, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, and you know, anytime, you know that I'd love to have you on again in the future.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Listen, guys, I'm going to be back this evening at 6 p.m. with a pre-match build-up. Zach, the Kind Gooner, is going to be back on, and then at 10 p.m. straight after the final whistle, I'll be doing a post-match review. So stick around for those shows. Those are going to be really good shows as well. So yeah, listen, guys, thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. Remember, hit the like button and subscribe on your way out. Would really, really appreciate that. And until later, take care, guys, and try and enjoy the rest of your day before Arsenal ruin it. Hopefully not, but listen, you know, you can't be. You've got to be. You've got to be a bit real as well, innit? And they could ruin it. But yeah, listen, guys, take care, and I'll catch you all later.